what if I told you that a company's ability to grow sustainably in today's world isn't just about profit or product or services, but about how deeply it understands its people? The studies have shown beyond fact that a great empathy-based work culture has delivered more than 20 to 30% increase in employee satisfaction, the attrition rate by 15 to 20% in just first year or a first 2 year of empathy-based work culture. Even more compelling is the customer satisfaction score has increased by 15% only because of an engaged, happy employee out there working to delight the customer client and engaging the person with his positive attributes and commitment in the work. So we will be discussing a lot on this. Empathy isn't just a soft skill. It's a business accelerator. Harvard Business Review study has found that companies with high empathy scores, they have outperformed their competitors by 50% in productivity and in innovation. Today, we will explore how HR can be the driving force behind this kind of a strategy. Today, we have with us an interesting personality from Spain, Madrid. He is a strong business leader and an HR leader. He is responsible and accountable for Grupo Bimbo, and he is driving the people strategy and the people function for Europe, Middle East, and Africa region. Welcome, Benito, to LinkedIn Live Talk Show, Lead Talks by Global Society of Human Capital Management. I'll give you a little bit insight about what we are doing.
Thank you so much, Sandy, for inviting me to this conversation about this topic, and it's a great pleasure to be here. Currently, I'm responsible for people from EMEA in Grupo Bimbo. My whole experience is more than 34 years. I joined Grupo Bimbo 8 years ago, and now my main objective is the responsibility of people and overall the expansion of our region in because we're acquiring companies, we are developing our business as Grupo Bimbo, as the number one, the leader in the bakery industry, is a great challenge. So it's a very interesting to talk about a topic that is clear when you are talking about growth. I think it's fundamental.
Let me tell you about what we are doing at the GSHCM. Global Society of Human Capital Management is celebrating 2025 as a year of empathy. We have been working with the industry leader, business leaders. We are sharing talks, discussions, research papers, a lot of content since January this year. We are provocating and encouraging business and HR leaders to use empathy-based work culture and drive their business strategy with the empathy-based people strategies. We have come out with the monthly calendars. Each month we publish these calendars. It has got actions in a nugget size on a day-to-day basis where business, HR, and industry leaders can execute these actionable initiatives. And we have, apart from this, talk shows like what we are having today, wherein we are inviting business and organization leaders to share their viewpoints, thoughts about empathy and other strategies and how they are implementing them at their workplace. So, welcome Benito again to this talk show. And with this, we have our first question, which is why is empathy crucial in HR strategy for sustainable growth?
Okay, so uh, if you want to grow a business, I think that you have to focus on people. So if you analyze people, I think the empathy is a fundamental pillar in HR strategy by 5 reasons. It's the reasons that I consider that is important if you want to grow a business. So it's related, people and business are linked. So the first one is building trust. Associates increase loyalty to the company with the empathy. The second one is enhances engagement. So associates are more motivated and impact in their performance. So it impacts directly to the results. The third one is related that promotes inclusion and collaboration. It helps teamwork and creativity. The fourth reason that we can consider is that the retention about the talent, you can improve that kind of retention. So associates decided to stay in the organization that they have that kind of philosophy. So I think it's very important to listen to the people and to put on the shoes of the people, because it's the way that you can retain to the talent. And finally, you create an environment that the innovation and productivity is something that is related to the empathy. So, in conclusion, an HR strategy based on empathy associates well-being, strengthens organizational culture, and contributes to sustainable business growth.
Next question is how can HR measure empathy at the workplace? Because many a time people say empathy is just of a fluffy word. It's not about the hard fact. It's about the pleasing people. And what's your view on this question?
Okay, so from my perspective and based on the experience, I think there are some methods that you can measure empathy at work. No? So the first one is related service to employee satisfaction and specific questions. Questions related about leadership perception, emotional support from the leader to their associates, and organizational culture. What is the value that the organizational culture is based on? And these values are fulfilling, I think is key. The second one is turnover rates. A workplace with a strong empathy often reflects a higher talent retention, because people feel very well to work in that kind of environment where you can listen to. The third is related to the 360-degree feedback evaluations related to the peers, leader, and associates. You can do assessments to measure listening skills and overall understanding within teams. And the fourth is meeting feedback. I think the leader has to create a space where you have to listen to the associates, and what are the things that the leader have to change, the things that you have to improve, and the things that you have to maintain. So after that, you have to do other kind of meeting about follow up about the things that you have received in the previous meeting, relating feedback. And finally, diversity and inclusion metrics, measuring representation, participation, and well-being diverse employee groups. That is the 5 methods that you can measure empathy at work.
Let's go to the next question. What role does empathy play in leadership development? They say that if you have a strong leaders with a strong empathy-based temperament or ability, they are the one who drive the organization culture. So what's your take on this?
Okay, so the first thing that we have to be very clear is that empathy is one of the most critical competencies in leadership, because it's the way, as I said, building trust, building strong teams, improving the level of communication in back and forth, and foster collaboration and create cohesion with a cohesive team. You create a cohesive team. So the key roles of empathy in leadership is strengthens trust, because actively listens and understands team concerns, creating a safe and respectful environment, enhances communication, facilitating open conversation and effectively resolving issues, boosts engagement, associates feel more value. When you feel more value, you have more, the level of engagement, the level of commitment has increased. And finally, promotes collaboration and teamwork. As I said, you feel comfortable sharing ideas and working together. You create a space where innovation, creativity come up in naturally. It's not something that you have to force. You create a space where people have to talk, people have to approach you. I disagree. I agree. I can change that. So that is the role that the empathy has to play. But I think it's important that the leader has to play an important role related the space of freedom in that kind of relationship with the team. No? Is the idea.
Question number 4 is, how can HR align empathy with the business goals? Maximum of the time they think that HR is not a business driver. That is cost center, that is a service function, not adding value to the core business. But things are changing very fast. The arrival of analytics, use of various models and metrics, it is changing that how HR can come in the center stage and drive the business as a strong business driver. So what's your take on this?
So HR can integrate into various strategic processes, incorporate empathy as a core value in the company's mission, vision, and corporate principle. I think it's an important value in the philosophy of the organization. It's something that you have to talk a lot about that, and you have to practice all the time. The second one is assess leaders practice active listening, assertive communication, and employee well-being management through services and 360 degrees evaluation, as I said. Develop a training program for empathetic leadership. Train leaders in emotional intelligence, conflict management, people-centered decision making, I think, is the three important factors that you have to focus on. Another strategic processes that you can apply is ensure policies and strategies consider their impact on associates, balancing efficiency with well-being. Finally, implement benefits such as flexible work arrangement, employee recognition, and professional development to boost motivation and commitment. So in conclusion, companies that prioritize associate well-being achieve better long-term results and a healthy work environment. So you can do some specific strategies in order that empathy and other values related to emotional intelligence can apply and can be, something natural in the environment of the organization.
And I think so. Which you put a very interesting point, Benito, is the emotional intelligence that is driving the business because of the younger generation, the Gen Z, the future coming up generations. They are very, very savvy. If they are not engaged at the workplace, they just snap and they get disconnected, and you find them in some other company in next day. So you need to be very, very empathetic to have a strong empathy-based strategy and workplace. Question, Benito, is how does empathy impact employee well-being? So prior to COVID-19, there were very scarcely we have seen employee well-being being addressed in a strong, as a part of strong core strategy, especially the human capital strategy. And with this COVID-19 and then the changing dynamics of the world, which is becoming exceedingly fast, the changes. So employee well-being is coming up in the center stage. And what's your thought on the employee well-being as a part of empathy-led strategy?
So how the way is the way when you create the environment that you listen to the people and you put on their shoes, you can understand them. So when you can understand them is when you can define. You have to be realized, and the second one, you have to define a plan, a clear plan about to do. So with the plan that you decided, the plan that you define according to the things that they say to you, and you understand the things that they are impacted, you can reduce stress and burnout. It's the first topic that you can do. You can improve the morale and the motivation of the people. Because when you put on the shoes of the people and you understand them, you can know the things that they are interested. And a consequence, you create a sense of belonging because you are involved in the things that they are interested. So at the same time, you have to encourage an open communication. For me, open communication is an important topic because it's the way that you can understand the real issues that the people are interested, that affected, and I think it's worth it to create that kind of open communication. But the issue in this open communication is when you only want to listen the things that you like. When you block, when you cut, when you don't create the flow, it's difficult that people is going to be open in the communication. So as a leader, my main role is to create that kind of environment where my associates can talk to me with freedom, and there are no consequences about the things that they say to me. So the first thing that I have to do is to building up trust environment. That is the important thing, and the first thing that I have to do.
Question: what are some empathy-driven HR initiatives that
Okay,
organizations drive?
So HR can implement several initiatives, no? To create a more empathetic and supportive workplace, like, for example, flexible work policies, allowing employees, associates to balance work and personal life. So with that, we can improve well-being. So first of all, it's important to know what are the preferences, what are the interests that they have. Another one is mental health support, offering resources like counseling, stress management programs, or wellness initiatives. The third one is mentorship programs, pairing associates with mentor, foster growth, guidance, and sense of belonging. Inclusive hiring practice, ensuring diversity, fairness in recruitment, creates a welcoming and respectful workplace. And regular feedback. I think the feedback, although I prefer not to talk about feedback, I prefer to talk about feed forward. Because I have to see to the future more than the past, and what are the things that you are strong, and the things that you have an opportunity, but it's not opportunity that is less than the strengths that you have. So we are very used to talking about opportunities, but I think it's good to focus on strength, and the feed forward is the things that you have to do in the future if you want to obtain better results. And with open conversation is the way. So you can define the challenges, the aspirations, talk about how do you feel, what can I do for you, what are the things that I have to change as to be a better leader. You have to create, as I said, the environment that the communication and the feedback or the feedback is an space that people can talk without any barrier, with a lot of freedom and in talking. That is the idea. So it is the initiative that I consider. No, so if I have to define one of them, I think for me is to create an environment that the people can talk with freedom.
Brilliant, Benito. And I liked one very interesting area which you touched upon is the mental health, which is becoming a serious cause of concern and today's extremely high pressure workplace. And because of many a times we are not addressing this mental health issue at the workplace, it goes unnoticed. It spirals into less productivity or person getting totally disengaged, and many a times person becomes reactive only, or becomes absolutely passive, or the person, I've seen people with extremely record of high performance, they have just snapped. It can lead to workplace violence. It can lead to a lot of things. There has been cases where people have gone the extreme step of committing, suicide, taking their life. And the organization, they don't ever try to find out these telltale signs of the individual. They could be, suffering from any major or minor issues. And without what you're saying correctly, without a proper communication in an organization, nobody is going to open up about the person or the challenges the person is facing. You know, what the least the employee want is somebody to listen to him and talk to him for few seconds, few minutes. That's all.
And it's important to create when you have to create the environment, the space. I think that you have to develop as a leader the competency of listening. All right, when you listen, you can understand the other part, and when you can understand the other part is when you can define a plan in order that the people are engaged with the organization, with you, and the rest. So the first step that you have to do is related to develop or to create or to have more competency related to listening. So people prefer to talk a lot, but they don't want to listen.
Yes, absolutely. And these were the basics. In once upon a time, they were the basic, fundamental management principles. And we have just forgotten them, and we are just going on a race for the numbers, and without realizing that these numbers are being produced by these soft people. These are the people who are going to produce these numbers. And rightly so, we have been focusing on empathy this year, just to encourage people to speak about it and to talk about it in the organization, and to at least carry out as a part of, to start to create an empathy-based work culture. Some of the initiatives, you don't have to, transform your whole organization. You can start with small, and then you can keep on building up later on. So thank you, Benito, for this insightful details. The next one is, how can HR promote the empathy in a remote work setting? Now, I have given this question very pertinently because a lot of companies have the hybrid work culture, and it is important that these people, who are working from home or remotely, needs to be engaged. Yes.
Okay, so what is the way that I do? All right, so it's I want to be very pragmatic with that. So the first thing that I do related to my team, for example, is to define along the month different one-on-one meetings. All right, so in this one-on-one meeting, we are talking about business. We are going to talk about how do you feel, what are the things that I have to change, the things that you have to improve, the things that I have to improve myself. So this is the first things that I do related to my team. The second one is to create spaces, informal spaces to connect. For example, every week we create an space that we talk about the topics that are affected to one of the colleagues, another colleagues, and we can share and we can create trust. We are creating a space where that level of communication is very high. So it's the second topic that I do. Another important thing is to define the time along the day in order to encourage the work-life balance. So this is the time that from this time on, I think it's much better no send an email or send or call me. We try to create that kind of space. So because first of all, one of the things that we did is to listen to everyone. So they shared to me that, okay, this is some rules that we have to fulfill. So it's the third topic that I like to do. And at the same time, I try to create a different workshops relating intelligence, emotional intelligence training, and empathy is one of the important aspects that we share in that kind of this training. So this is the topics that I do, and and the result that I have obtained is that the level of communication, the level of empathy, the level of engagement and commitment has improved exponentially. With if you don't do it.
Can empathy drive innovation? We have got the research of HBR that where empathy is practiced as one of the core strategy. It has encouraged people to talk freely, as you said, open to communications, break those bridges and barriers, and it has helped them to innovate at the workplace. So,
Okay, so
what's your take on this?
all right, so innovation is an attitude, or to create. You have to have the space to create, to innovate. So the first things that you have to do is to encourage diverse thinking. All right. So understanding different viewpoints. So with that, you can create fresh ideas. You are not going to cut the something that you consider is not according to your ideas. So, okay, this is your point of view. What are the different point of view others? And you have to you have to create that kind of environment. When you create that kind of environment, people is when they can create, because innovation and creativity need one seed: the freedom. If you don't have that kind of seed, it's not possible that the tree grow. It's not possible. So empathy is a competency that help you to understand the others, to listen to others, respect that they consider that is their ideas. And when you are creating that kind of environment, you have to put the seed, and the tree, the innovation, the rest of the things is growing. That is the empathy play an important role in innovation.
Thank you, Benito. Let's go to the last question, which is one of the key reason why we are having this discussion is to create an organization which can grow sustainably. And most of the time it has been said that if you want to grow your organization sustainably, you need to have a strong empathy-based work culture. What's your view on this?
First of all, it's important to lead by example. Because if you don't create a model, if you don't lead as a sample, people is not going to follow you. And another important thing is to integrate empathy into policies. Design HR policies that prioritize associate well-being, flexibility, inclusion is the way. Continuous training about emotional intelligence, the empathy competency. You have to talk a lot. Another important thing is to incorporate and the philosophy, the value of the organization. Recognition, I think, is an important tool through empathy, because with that, people are going to be more focused on developing empathy, to listen to others, to understand to others, to create that kind of environment. And with measures or the different tools that you have about turnover, say, service, etc., is something that you can compare. You have to define the benchmarking, etc., and scorecarding. You can create that kind of environment at the same time to be sustainable along the time. That is the different things that you have to do. You want to be sustainable, the empathy in the organization.
I think so. We missed the question number 5, and it is a very important question with regard to aligning the empathy with the customer satisfaction. You give us a lot of insight and in a bit of pieces, and I think so it's time for us to integrate that how we can align empathy with the customer satisfaction, because in our introduction we have shared that the increase in empathy based initiative has resulted into 15 to 20% increase in customer satisfaction. So what's your take on how we can align empathy strategy or empathy work culture with the customer satisfaction?
Okay, so if you want to know the needs of customers, the only way that you can do is listening to them. So to put on their shoes, to understand what they need, what they say. So empathy is the way. So you listen. When you listen, you can understand, you analyze the things that they need. And when you know the things that they need, is the way that you design an action plan to satisfy their needs. It's a very simple process, but sometimes we can't listen to them, and we apply the things that we consider, but they don't put on the shoes of them. So empathy is a competency that helps to that.
So it is on the shoulders of the business leaders lies the responsibility to drive this ethical and empathy-based work culture. So what's your last message before we do a wrap-up? Benito, your message to the HR leaders, the business leaders, the organizational leaders about empathy, because we need to be sensitive about this empathy, because as the times are changing, if this empathy is not being put as one of the core driver of the business, there's be a lot of question mark on the sustainability and existence of the business in the long term. So your message, please.
Okay, so if you want to have a sustainable organization, I think it's important to focus on productivity, but at the same time, you have to focus on humanity. So when you have to focus on humanity, empathy and other competencies are key. And in our company, we have an important golden rule is based on 4 pillars. You have to respect to your colleagues, your associate, to everyone. You have to be very fair, to be very objective. The third one is you have to building up trust. And finally, you have to take care of people. So with these 4 important concepts is the way that your organization is going to be sustainable and you have to obtain great results because people are be aligned with the organization.
Thank you, Benito. It has been extremely our pleasure to hear you out in last 40 odd minutes. And you gave us such an insightful and basic details to not only the HR leaders, but to the business leaders, that how they can use these simple tools of communications, leading by examples, trust, create an environment of trust, and so many other small tools they can use it to create and build that sustainable organization. Now, as we wrap up today's discussion, here's the takeaway. Empathy is the invisible thread that weaves together employee well being, customer loyalty, and the business growth. Let's take the example of the Salesforce company. By embedding empathy into their organization culture, they did they did not just retain top talent or the workforce, they turn employees into their brand advocates. And directly boosted their customer success metrics like 20% retention improvement, 15% customers satisfaction lead prove that the empathy isn't just a cost. It is in fact the ROI multiplier. But empathy isn't one time initiative, what like Benito was saying. It requires intentional commitment and work and intentional policies so that they are part of the business strategy, like flexible working models, mentorship programs, leadership training that align with business goals. As HR and business professionals, you are not just managing people, you are shaping the ecosystem where innovation thrives, burnout fades, and loyalty grows. And then only you're going to have a environment with a lot of trust and commitment. So ask yourself today, how can HR strategy and the business strategy turn empathy into a measurable growth engine? The future of work isn't about efficiency, as Benito was saying, it's about humanity. So let's build that future together. And thank you, Benito, for being part of this one of the wonderful discussion we have as we celebrate the year of empathy in 2025. Thank you, all of you, for joining us today. Stay inspired, stay empathetic, and keep driving growth where it matters most through your people. See you next time in the next episode of Lead Talks. And looking forward to connect with you, Benito. You have a good day and have a great empathy-based work culture in your organization.